So in this video, I'm going to answer a question that was put to me by somebody who's doing my full stack course. I wanted to know, could he get a job in the full stack after 2 to 3 months of studying with my courses? Short answer is yes. In fact, I've had people mention it on YouTube in some of the comments and sent me emails where they actually got jobs within a month of doing my full stack course without having any prior experience whatsoever. Now, you have to be dedicated, but of course, the people who do my full stack course know that I have a very structured interactive training system that tracks you and guides you and gives you instant feedback. So it really speeds up the learning. Now, to get there, to get to the point where you just started out to getting a job, again, to reiterate, as I've mentioned in other videos, you do the training courses, the interactive training where you learn the foundations, and then you do 2 to 3 of the projects that I provide. And then what you should do is get out there into the real world and do a couple of freebie jobs, a couple of free gigs. It's very important when you get out there and do some work for some small business or friend, something very small. Don't spend 2 months on something very small, just so you can learn to communicate with people and to put out a project properly. This is going to go a long way in terms of you getting a job. As I've mentioned in other videos, being able to communicate well is a big part of being a successful developer. So this guy's ultimate goal was to become a freelancer. So his next question was, should he go from my course and get a job and then go into freelancing, or should he just go right from my course into freelancing? Short answer, if you want to be a freelancer, be a freelancer. Jump right into freelancing. When I sold out of my first business back in the 90s and decided to go into web development and development full-time, I didn't go look for a job. I went right into freelancing. Of course, all I've known my entire adult life since I've been 18 is business, so that kind of makes sense. Now, a basic lesson that I actually got from one of my friend's uncles applies to this 100%. So one of my friend's uncles was one of the most successful directors in Canada. We're talking TV shows and so forth. And my friend was in film school, and he was interested in becoming a director. And his uncle, this very famous, very successful director, told him the biggest mistake that people make in the film industry is that if they want to become directors, they think that they have to work their way up. They think that they have to first do lighting and maybe be extras or maybe work the camera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He said that was the biggest mistake. He said, if you want to be a director, start directing. So if you want to be a freelancer, start freelancing. Now, the thing is, if you do get a job, there are some advantages to that because you could learn their processes internally in terms of how they handle clients and develop projects, but that is going to be shielded from you, right? If you go work, especially for a large company, you're going to be given out a little piece of work, and that's all you're going to know. You're just going to know this little thing, and the rest you're not going to know anything about. So you're not going to get the big picture for a little while, at least, in terms of how to manage clients and how to get projects and so on. The other thing, if you go work for a small company, of course, you're going to be much more in touch with the broader process of handling web development and design clients. But again, you're going to be shielded from the process in a big way. It's very rare for people to go from working for somebody to jumping into freelance. Why? Because what happens when you get a job as a web developer, a web designer, and you start making the money and you start getting comfortable, and you know every 2 weeks you're going to get that paycheck, it's very hard, especially once you start getting used to the money and you start spending the money, if you don't follow my principles, it's going to be very hard for you to let that go. Because when you first start any business, there's going to be a lag time. There's going to be a build-up, ramp-up period that you're going to have to contend with. That's just the way it goes. I'm thinking back, going back in time, hundreds of years. I don't remember people who went and worked for somebody and then broke away. I think I know 1 or 2 people who were able to do that. I know a lot of people who thought about it, you know, hey, I'm working as a developer, I'm going to start my own thing. But ultimately, they stayed in their jobs because the pay was really good, the lifestyle was pretty good, and they said to themselves, why do I want to take that risk? So if you want to do freelance, my suggestion to you, especially if you don't have any dependents, go right into freelance. Deal with that lag time, get up and running, and in the end, I think you'll thank yourself for it. Now, don't get me wrong, working for somebody can be fantastic. I know some people have done very well working for people, and high-paying jobs, saved their money well, invested well, retired quite early with a lot of money. That's a route. It's a lifestyle choice. It's like renting versus buying a lot of times. A lot of times it's a question of lifestyle. When you rent an apartment or a car or whatever, you have no responsibility. The car breaks down 2-3 years, you don't care. If it rusts out, you don't care. Same thing with renting. If something breaks, the plumbing breaks, the roof needs to be fixed, not your problem when you're renting. Oh, well, there's downsides and upsides to everything. Anyhow, it's a lifestyle choice between freelance and working for somebody. If you want to be a freelancer, my suggestion to you, go for my WebStack course, do the foundation training with the interactive training in Studio Web, then do 2 or 3 of the Studio Web projects, then go out there, get a couple of free B gigs, meaning free jobs that you do for nothing. Consider it your stage, the learning process. Remember, a lot of people will go to boot camps and spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 at boot camp because they think, ooh, I'm going to get this placement. I'm going to get the stage work. You don't need a boot camp to get the stage work. You can get the stage work on your own, trust me. You follow the processes that I teach, you will get there. My freelance course gives you all the details that you need, of course, and much, much more. So there you have it. To round up, yes, you could get a job within a few months of doing my full stack course. Many have. Number 2, should you go get a job to become a freelancer? If your goal is to be a freelancer, go into freelance. There you go.